So, a couple of months ago, I finished reading the book The Selfish Gene, and it really messed me up for a couple of months, maybe even longer. Because I kept a pull. Because Selfish Gene, the book Selfish Gene, the theory of it really helps explain a lot of behavior. So basically, this is super basic. What Selfish Gene is, it's basically everything that we do. I'm saying basically a lot. I'm gonna try not to say that. So everything that it states that everything that we do is to help move our genes along. So everything that we do in life, the partner we select, then we have kids, and then keep them alive, and then make sure they have kids. So everything that we do is to meet a partner, have children, and then make sure they survive, and then make sure they move on to have children. So the book claims that every decision we make is really because of that, which is a little black and white, right? But it really does help explain a lot of behavior. It really does. And it truly, which is a good thing, but I was really surprised at how well it fit towards everything. So I even went so far as, which I got yelled at about, so Ronda Rousey lost her second fight right about this time when I got done reading the book. And I realized that Selfish Gene totally applies to that. This is my argument that I made with friends, and they all kind of shit on me for it, but I still kind of think I'm right. Back then, I really thought I was right. Now, I think I'm like 80% right. So you have someone fighting who's a millionaire, who basically can afford a nice home, can now select probably a better partner. Better meaning, has more money to pay for healthcare and went to a better school and probably has a better job and can pay for protection to protect the kids. So she could pick a better partner. She can now have kids. She can now give them better education, make sure they have the best doctors and healthcare, and then maybe even give that money to them, and then they can survive, make sure they survive and they have children, and so on and so on and so on. So she was already set for that. She's already a millionaire. Whereas the person she's fighting is making $35,000 a year. So the person she's fighting is fighting for her selfish gene to make sure that her kids have the best chance, or so her genes have the best chance of surviving, moving on, and then having more kids, and so on and so on and so on. So Selfish Gene would explain that's why she lost. She didn't need to fight for her to move her genes forward, whereas the other girl did, right? Which sounds a little nuts, but if you read the book, it really makes sense. Or if you apply that theory to it, it definitely makes sense. So friends were yelling at me, "You're totally out of line. That there's no way." Da da da. So I let it go for about a week, and then I see an interview with Ronda Rousey on Ellen, and Ellen ends up asking her the question, what were you thinking after the fight? You're in the hospital. Your jaw's broken. You have two teeth knocked out. The doctor's there with you. What's going through your mind? And then Ronda Rousey says, "This is what's going through her mind." And this is me just reading the book Selfish Gene and saying that it is Selfish Gene that she lost. Right? And everyone's saying I'm crazy. So she says to Ellen, Ellen goes, "What's going through your mind in that moment?" And then Ronda Rousey says to Ellen, "The only thing I could think about in that moment, I kept staring at my boyfriend saying, what am I doing? I should just be at home having kids with this guy. That's what I should be doing. What am I doing? Fighting." Which totally fits into my whole theory on this whole thing. And of course, it's not that black and white. And of course, there's so many other things that are involved in there. But overall, the bigger picture, if you apply Selfish Gene, it really effing makes sense. It really does. Even if you look at bands and their greatest albums, most bands don't write amazing albums once they're well off and sort of set and their family's set. Yeah, I'm trying to think of one artist that once they were financially secure, amazing music started coming out. I can't think of one. I'm sure there's a million. I'm sure there's some examples. But once again, it's not black and white, but if you apply Selfish Gene, it really does. It really does explain so much shit. So the reason I read the book was so a couple of months before I started reading the book, I started thinking about like unconditional love, right? So specifically why so if you have a child, right, and that child is going away to college or moving away, you're sad that you're not going to see them as much, but you're happy because they know what they want to do and they're going to leave, they're going to grow, they're going to learn, stuff like that. You're not mad at them, you're not upset, you don't need them to stay with you. You're happy overall. But if you have a boyfriend or girlfriend that is breaking up with you and moving on, it's not the same. You're not happy for them now that they know, oh, I realize that what I want to do with my life is this, that, and this, and you're kind of not in it, so we're going to have to break up. And it sucks you're not going to see them, but most of us are not happy really for them in that situation. And then I was trying to answer like, well, then why? If it's the same thing, if people date, I would say, yeah, I unconditionally love that person. Yeah, I want to see them happy. But if happy involves leaving you, then it's not happy. You're not happy about that at all. And sometimes you want to see them not do well, or I hope their future's not so awesome, and I hope my future's more awesome than theirs, which is kind of fucked up. But I'm saying that to make the point that it's not the same as your kid leaving. And a lot of people say it's not a good example. It's an effing awesome example once you hear how it all ties in. So that was my initial thought, arguing with friends, bringing it up, talking about it. So then I was like, why are we upset when someone leaves us or breaks up with us? What are we losing? So then I was thinking, on some level, when we decide to sleep with someone, are we saying that I've accepted you to be the person who's going to have my kids and then help me raise this family and then help me move my genes along? On some level, even though we don't think that in the beginning, is there something deep down inside that's saying that? So when someone leaves us, they're actually taking away that whole setup, which is really now Selfish Gene. Are they taking that all away? But I didn't know that at the time. Are they taking that away? So I was like, that's not really unconditional love. So I started calling it selfish love. But yet no one's calling anything selfish love. When you meet someone, oh, I love them. Oh, I love my, someone's telling me they love their kids. Or everyone's just calling it love or unconditional love. So arguing with friends, talking to them about it, my one buddy, I bring up selfish love. I go, it's really selfish love when we date someone. It's not this unconditional love. And then he brings up, oh, there is a thing called Selfish Gene. It's a book. It's already a book. I go, holy shit, I didn't know that. Let me read that. And so I did. And now this is where... And so now I'm in this podcast, and this is what I'm doing. Unconditional love versus Selfish Gene. And then it brings up the question, well, then, is there love? And some people say love is just a social construct, right? Just something that was created. Which is really hard to think about. To think about that there's no love is pretty insane, right? Because there's a lot of, all we need is love, love is everything, blah, blah, blah. So I went through that for a while, and that really blew my mind. And then I'm happy with the thought now that maybe we're not in love with the other person that we're dating. We're in love with what they provide for us. So you love the fact that that person makes it easier for you, or will make it easier for you to raise children, and will help you make sure those children stay alive, and so on and so on and so on. They will help you move your genes forward. So that's what you love about the person, that you really don't. And I think it's actually more beautiful than actually saying that you love the person. It's definitely more honest, right? This is if you accept the selfish gene thing. So then I went through that whole phase for a while. And then I went through another phase where I started questioning, well, what about the people I know who are dating or married who don't have kids or don't even want kids? I meet a lot of women who don't even want children. And then I realized everybody that I know that's like that is making a living doing something creative with their life. So, on some level, does being creative, leaving behind something, is that sort of their way of leaving their genes behind or making sure their genes pass on through their art or through whatever they're doing? And once again, I'm not saying that that's right. I'm not saying that that's wrong. I don't know, and that's why I bring up all these topics. And I think I might end it there. I'm sure I'm forgetting a bunch of things, but I don't make a list. I don't make an outline for this podcast. I like to just sort of spit it all out, and that's how it goes, and that's it. Yeah, so that's it. So selfish gene, unconditional love. I don't know what the answers are, but it's really effing interesting. Um, I would love to hear what you guys think. Let me know. What else about it? I'm definitely forgetting stuff, but I'm just going to move on. Yeah, that's it, guys. So till next time, this has been Unconditional Love versus Selfish Gene.